The purpose of this podcast in general is to make you a better trader, or at least what I consider my best attempt to help you out with all the experience that I have in the marketplace and talk about things that maybe somebody did not bring to your attention, and just kind of help you out with things that are psychological and strategic that sometimes are not addressed by some people, not because of their lack of professionalism or lack of knowledge. It just really, rather than going wide, in trading, which a lot of people talk about time frames and discipline and psychology, what I try to do is really go deep. And one of the things that I wanted to tell you is that, there's a certain nature and character that will make a trader successful. Now, I'm not here to tell you how you should think in your day-to-day life. In your day-to-day life, whatever you do outside the market, it's your own business. I don't even have the right to tell you what to do, how to behave, or anything like that. I just hope all of you are just decent people doing the right thing. But I will tell you this, that humility is the one thing that could give you an edge over other people that come to the market, especially over the arrogant, over the know-it-all, over all the ones that really have no respect to the marketplace, the participants and who's in it. Usually it would come from somebody who is a beginner, who comes to the market and says, you know what, I'm going to make so much money at it. Right? And let me tell you, those people, they stay in the markets for the shortest time period because they think that they found the best method that everybody else overlooked in a very short period of time. They have discovered some sort of a patterns that others didn't take a look at. They saw something that others did not. Now, I'm just going to tell you this. The marketplace is a very, very unique place. It's not like any other place. And when people say, trading is a business, it absolutely is a business, but it's also a very unique business. It's a business that filters out the schmucks really, really fast. So if you approach this market like a schmuck, it will filter you out like a schmuck. If you approach it with humility, it could potentially give you a better chance. Now, I don't know where this arrogance sometimes comes to traders, that they think that they have something that others do not. If you've been trading for 20 years and you've proven above average track record with real-time result, I would say even those people. I've met people who are very successful traders, and the one thing I would tell you about them, that they're very, very humble people in their nature, right? They would never say that they found a better method. They would never say that they are better than anybody else. They actually talk about the challenges that they had to go through to be where they're at. And many of them agree on one thing. They're just as good as their last trade. Now, the arrogant traders who have no experience, who are beginners at it, who are sitting there after subscribing to 7,000 Instagrams, 5,000 Facebook pages, subscribing to all the YouTubers out there, regardless of their quality or what they provide or anything like that. Those are the people that will approach the market thinking that they could potentially, over leveraging, could yield some sort of above average results that others did not see. So if you are one of those people listening to this, here's my message to you. The marketplace consists of a lot of professionals. They're very smart people. They are people who have done their homework, and they're also very humble people. And humble people test methods, they look at risk, and essentially their approach to the marketplace is from a perspective of, I will get rewarded if I do things right. Not because I'm entitled to them, not because I'm a good human being in my day-to-day life, not because I spend 10 hours and I deserve to make money in trading. Not because I review every chart out there. It's because I run a good program and I have the humility, to understand that I could potentially will have to work on things for quite some time until I improve them. The arrogant traders, and I hope there's not a lot of traders out there. And again, look, you could be a wonderful human being. It does not mean that you're a bad person out there in society if you're approached trading with arrogance. It doesn't mean anything about you as a person. The way I look at it is more of a wishful thinking, but nevertheless, it still ends up being in arrogance where you think that you'll come to the marketplace and you'll start banging it out with consistent cash flow, and it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. My biggest fear is that, and I spoke about it in previous podcasts, if you listened, again, it's the story you tell yourself versus the reality of the market, right? So the bigger the gap, the faster you'll be out of this game. Usually the people that do not have humility and they have some sort of an arrogance about them when it comes to trading, usually those are the ones who trade the shortest amount of time. Now, some of them learned the lesson. Some people say, you know what, look, maybe I have to change my attitude. Maybe this is just not working. Maybe I need to do something that could potentially make it happen, right? I mean, maybe this is something that I want to do and improve, and this kind of attitude did not help me get any further. Not financially, not intellectually, not in any other way. And that's a great way to do things, because guess what? I've also made mistakes. Now, given, when I started, I was very, very lucky that my mentors just really drilled it into my head how hard trading is. They really did. I mean, I don't know if it was luck. I don't know if I was just attracted to those kind of people because it's just who I am as a person. But luckily, I came across people who really drilled into my head how difficult the profession is, right? Some of them even drilled into my head, how hard it is to be a broker and what to expect as a broker and how to communicate with customers. So role models definitely help. But there are people out there also that despite their experience, that they will have a certain way, they will run into obstacles, they will see that this is not the right way, they will not stop being arrogant. They would still claim that they have a method that works, and they will blame everything else on the lack of their success, right? I mean, you could come to them and say, okay, well, if you have the best method in the world, where's the money, right? That's the right question. Where's the money, right? I mean, if you have such a good method, well, do you have, something to show it? I don't mean, to show it in the cars or the houses or anything like that. I'm not a superficial guy. I've met a lot of very, very wealthy individuals in my life, and they're very down-to-earth people. But nevertheless, when it comes to trading, you have to at least say, okay, if my method is so good, it produces above average results on a real-time account. So when you talk to those people and you ask them, well, where are the results, right? Why is your method better than anyone? I mean, is it been exercised in the market, with real skin in the game money? And the answer many times is no. No. And why not? Well, all kinds of things. Well, it didn't work at the time. I needed this. I needed that. The system didn't this. I didn't have the right software. I didn't have the right backing. I didn't have this. This is what I need. Every story in the world. So those are people who are just kind of they're in a delusional loop of trading, right? On what trading provides. If you're a beginner and you started listening to this podcast, or just started trading, or just you've been in the market a few years, the opposite of arrogance is humility. And with humility, it develops over time with experience of trading. So, what you want to do is really have this path in the right direction. Now, when somebody has humility when they approach the market, It does not mean that they're timid. It does not mean that they're scared. It does not mean that they don't approach things just because there is competition. You know, there's a lot of restaurants that got closed as a result of this COVID, which is really bad. But when it will be over, there's going to be a lot of new ones that will open. And during the good times that we had, despite of all the restaurants, new ones still came in and they succeeded because they offered something that others don't. And there's still dentists that will keep on being dentists regardless of the fact that there's a lot of dentists and there's going to be a lot of lawyers. So having the humility, you know, in becoming a trader or becoming a trader with humility, I should say, it does not mean that you're afraid of the competition. You're not afraid of the people who are successful. Rather, what you want to do is really, at first, see what makes them successful. Because all the successful people in every profession have some sort of a foundation that they run on, some sort of a foundation that drives them. It doesn't matter if they're investors or day traders or anything else. I believe that there's certain basic rules that they all adhere to, and basically, they basically go by and obey and so forth. So you can look at an example, for example, like somebody like Warren Buffett, right? He's an investor. Definitely, we can't look at him for day trading advice. He would probably hate it. But at the same time, the opposite of him, you can look at somebody like Jim Simmons with the Renaissance Fund. And I've listened to interviews with both Warren Buffett and Jim Simmons, and I would tell you that both of them have humility. Amazing humility. I mean, they're talking about how difficult it is. They're talking about the people besides them and how they help them. So humility, I don't know. I don't know what makes somebody become humble. And again, I'm not a psychologist, but I think that you have to be when you come to the marketplace to just understand that this is the first foundation of saying, okay, there's a lot of players. There's sophisticated players, there's PhD players, there's people who know stats, there's people who know programming. And you can find your niche in all of them, right? You can find where you are. But it's just making sure that you understand who you're up against. Once you start thinking all those people are dumb, this is actually arrogance. Arrogance and thinking, okay, all those people, despite all their work and all the efforts that they've done, they're just dumb. They just didn't discover the one thing that I just discovered in my paper trading account. And that is wrong. It's just wrong to think that way. So again, part of trading and part of becoming, I think it's also becoming a better person with a better approach, is to say, okay, those are the players. This is what they do. This is their work ethic. This is how they go about things. First, let me see what they do. Let me try and see the foundations for day trading or trading in general. The discipline, not over leveraging, making sure that I review my trades, those sort of basic things. From there, you can basically will become a better trader, right? From there, hopefully, in my opinion, you could potentially become a better trader once you build on that foundation. Now, I'm going to tell you something that I don't feel very comfortable saying, but it's the truth. The marketplace is a competitive place. And just like everything else, $1 gets divided between the players, right? So if there's a small town with a bunch of diners in it, there could be one diner that is so successful and has such great food and has great staff and everything else that causes the other two diners to just shut down. And so the dollars that the city had, between getting divided between three, it could be just going to one. And if, let's say, the other two are okay and they're good enough, then they get their share. And then if somebody better comes to town, and he's even better than all the three out there, well, he's going to take the share. So remember one thing, being a good trader As much as you would like to think that this is just a fair game, trading is not a fair game. Trading is a game that rewards people for their work ethic, in my personal opinion. This is just, again, my personal opinion. It doesn't mean that it's true. It's something that I believe in and something that I've observed. But the marketplace, there's newcomers that come to the market all the time. And those newcomers, not all of them are guided. Not all of them come with a plan. And initially what they lose, it goes to the ones that are the professionals. All kinds of professionals. Could be retail professionals who are working from home as a professional trader. It could be a commodity trading advisor. It could be a fund and so forth. So the better work ethic you have, the better plan you have, the more humility you have, the more homework you do, the more you will grab out there from the newcomers to the marketplace. That's just how it works. The futures market, as long as I've been in it, it consisted of beginners who come in. Some of them trade. Sometimes it takes them quite some time to get good at this game and improve. But there are some people who can't. And I don't blame them. If somebody started and stopped, I don't blame them. Maybe they ran out of risk capital. Maybe trading leverage is not for them. They just stopped. But it is what it is, so there's going to be somebody else who will come in and will try his luck. But the professionals, in the meantime, the ones that are consistent, are able to basically take away from those people, right? So this is just how it works. It's unpleasant sometimes to say it, but the trading world is no different than any other business place. It's competitive. It has a lot of smart people. It has people that are dedicating a lot of time to it. So essentially, I'm being truthful about this, despite the fact that it always hurts me, at least as a professional, when somebody comes in and he has all those big plans and it didn't work out. However, this is why I'm doing those podcasts. I'm doing these specific podcasts because I think that, your initial approach and whoever guided you in the marketplace could potentially make a very big difference in the years to come and the results that you see. So I hope that nobody sees, those podcasts, or this specific podcast, I should say, as a discouraging to any beginner. And at the same time, one thing I wanted to say, you really have to distinguish between two things. And I hope, I've kind of separated them here and you understood it. But if I didn't, I'm going to explain it. I am not saying that you should not be enthusiastic. There's one thing about being an enthusiastic trader and trying to get into the trading arena because you're enthusiastic about trading and you love trading. That's enthusiasm. That's actually looking forward to learn about the markets, reading, listening, talking to industry people, growing your knowledge, having the thirst for more knowledge from people who are decent people, experienced people. Arrogance is a completely different level, right? It's completely different. It's like being a junior, walking into, somebody hired you to work for someone, some big corporation, and think about it. In trading, you're always hired. If you have enough capital, you open an account and you're hired. But imagine somebody walked in, into some company, not knowing anything, and a company that's been doing this for 150 years, and he tells the boss, listen, I've read about your company, I figured it all out, just tell me where I sit, right? I don't think if you're a boss or a co-worker of such a person, there's not going to be a long-term career there, right? And the same thing goes about trading, right? It's the same thing. If you approach something with complete arrogance, the marketplace will not be forgiving. Now, if you're enthusiastic, that's a completely different story. I don't want to kill your enthusiasm. Quite the opposite. I think enthusiasm will move you forward through very difficult periods that you will have in trading or in life in general. It's great to be positive. I don't think there's situations that it will hurt you. And if there are, it's probably with people who don't appreciate a positive outlook out there, and maybe they're looking for, as they say, misery needs company. So you're not going to be that company. So maybe that's where it's not going to work. But on the day-to-day, being enthusiastic, even in the workplace, talking to people, learning about it, trying to make things better, even for yourself, even just this is how you grow as a person. I believe the traders have growth as well. You need to go through growth. You need to start from the right foundation. If you start from arrogance as the foundation, that's going to be a very, very long tree to climb. I mean, to the top of that tree, there's going to be a lot of branches, and it's going to be difficult, a lot of steep hills. And so what I want to do is really you approaching the markets, from an intellectual standpoint and with humility. And that's, and I think that would be a good start. I hope that helps. I hope it helps. Listen, if you're listening so far and you're at the end of this podcast, it means I didn't irritate you. So you're still listening and you're interested. So just to remind everyone that there's a substantial risk of loss in futures trading. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Please trade only with risk capital. Don't trade with capital you cannot afford to lose. That is very important as well. Would love to earn your business if you're a futures trader. It's www.optimusfutures.com. And I look forward to helping you, and my staff is looking forward to helping you. They know that I put this podcasts. They listen to them as well, so they know the difficulties that traders face. And we're basically trying to build a foundation as a company to help you with everything that you need as a beginner trader, or if you didn't have a pleasant experience with somebody else, we just want to make it pleasant with us. I wish you a really good day. I wish you a really good week, and I'll see you on the next podcast. I wish you nothing but the best. And again, stay humble. Bye.